Have you ever had someone asking you in your training or in your workshop, asking you the purpose of the Fibonacci sequence to help them estimate tasks in Scrum? Did you? So we have a lot to talk about, and this today, Friday, September the 17th, Friday Live Agile, episode 35. So stay there, beautiful people, Agile loungers and lovers of business agility. We are going to talk about sizing, estimation, really, and Scrum. Yes, beautiful people, welcome once again. It's your Coach AF here with you, before you, to talk about this tips and tricks for any Scrum Master out there who's wondering what the heck is a Fibonacci sequence, why I am doing this poker planning, why. We're going to answer this kind of why thing. But first, before going into the deep of the subject, I would like to welcome you back again. 13 new subscribers on my growing YouTube channel. Thank you so much. I love it. I really appreciate it. You are appreciated, growing community, and especially the Dare Real Agile podcast. Yes. We did a great show last week with Joey Peregrino about the Agile agnostic movement and oath. I don't know. I'm addressing to my coach out there. Have you signed this oath of being a true consultant, open mind, open ear, understanding the need of your client? Yes, we are here because we have client and the great enterprise. We have maybe team leader and so on. So let's make it happen, guys. It's no way. It's really no way that you just impose agility again and again and again. So why are you using in your workshop the Fibonacci sequence? Are you an astrophysicist or do you work in physics? I don't know. I'm asking you this because there's a lot, but when I say there's a lot of people who think that they need to do this to measure the capacity of the work to be done. But I'd like to remind you, like, what we do here at the Agile Lounge for business agility, and especially with our program, the Next Level Agile Coaching, is really we invite the team and we invite the leadership to come together and to have an explicit agreement. And from the Scrum Inc. organization funded by or co-founded by Jeff Shutterland again, we use this beautiful team working agreement canvas. I don't know if you can see it, because everything about the estimation of work to be done have to be agreed as a component of opportunities and metrics. And this is for the team. It's not for an obscure manager somewhere who would like to get to know some kind of metric that is not meaningful, nor for the user experience or the customer experience of what are you trying to realize and to produce, and so on and so on. So I'd like to give you, of course, a ballpark, very agnostic view on this. And if you'd like, what we do here over at the Agile Lounge with our show at 35th weeks in a row, the Friday Live Agile and everything, and you want to tip myself and also my team, because yes, I redistribute this money, and you'd like to do like Awi, Liliane, and Vendorn, you go into my YouTube channel, link in the description below, and you could send me Bitcoins. You could also PayPal me any kind of tips and donation. And yes, the Scrum beer, you see it. My God, I've got difficulty with my new camera here. The Scrum beer, okay, is on hold for September. And we might come back with something great, something innovative. Yes, and November, the November late period, we're going to have to get something on invitation only. So if you'd like to be invited to that special Scrum beer in person of late November, it's planning. It's just planning, right? Don't hold your expectation to it. But if you'd like it, please comment below. Let me know you'd like to be on the guest list for a guest experience, because we won't do any discrimination, but we won't invite necessarily the meetup group or our mailing list. We want only capable people like in Scrum team, capable people that would like to have an explicit agreement on how do we gather together and speak about our favorite subject of Scrum, the Scrum way. So today, I am very pleased to talk about this. It's not the first time. I did some kind of mock funny video last year in my gym, in my building gym, about the sizing and estimation. It's a really true way for those of my clients who've got a gym with dumbbell. We go there in the gym and with the product owner, the business owner, the development team, the designer team, everyone that is implicated into a project. And I ask them much over than what you see on the thumbnail right now about the psychology of estimation that include that kind of building size or distance size. And of course, like in the training, I go with the crowd and everything. But one of the things that I did last year, and that was very funny and people really embarked and they saw it, is because the dumbbell, usually it starts at 5 pounds. Then you have a 10 pounds, that could be the 13 pounds. Or the 8 pounds, because the 15 pounds will be like the 13, that famous Fibonacci sequence. But are you an astrophysicist, or you are an Agile coach and a Scrum Master? So are you looking for some trouble with people who seeks the promise that using Scrum will be lean, clean, and simple? Keep it simple and iterative. I'm just asking the question here. Because in my case, I use that sequence to show the element of complexity comparatively, to help the team agreed, again, working team agreement. It's really to help them organize and agree on how to simplify the process of estimating a task. And as you know, in a collaborative, self-organized team, they are not necessarily one person for one task. It's a task that will move in the flow of your work, especially if you use a CHOISI, continuous development and continuous integration, with a Kanban board and a Kanban flow. Okay? So a task ownership and responsibility could be divided in many skill set and many skilled people to help you achieve that goal. So it's all about capacity indicators. Yes, you hear me. There's no estimation. When we say boldly, there's no estimation in Scrum, nor in the Agile software development. Sorry about that. Allergy is kicking out like crazy today. So it's really all about the capacity indicator. So tell me in the comment below. Let's try to be kind of interactive here today, this Friday. Do you know those 3 key indicators of capacity that everyone should ask the question to agree on a size? Or do you know? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comment below. I'll let you like 3 seconds, because now I'm mimicking one type of the training that I could do remotely for you if you hire us at the Agile Lounge for business agility. So the great Scrum team, in my sense, all of the greatest Scrum team that I have, and what do they want? So they want to deliver the working product, the working solution at every sprint, especially if they have a sprint product goal. But how much should you plan for the sprint? Statistic is a great tool to answer these questions. You still have time to give me the 3 key indicator of capacity in the comment while I'm explaining you this. Because once your team has some history, they know each other. I'm talking about stable team, of course. If you work in a matrix mode, you add difficulty and ambiguity into it. But let's say you have, in an ideal world, a real Scrum team, okay, that works stable towards the same product or same solution or same technology or same component, that are really dedicated to that product owner, that business owner. So once that team get an history of previous sprints and the discovery they do to improve and to understand better the new technology or the new ways to produce, well, the Scrum Master helps the product owner. Sorry, my God, today, don't know what's going on in Montreal. Sorry about that. I woke up this morning with this allergy crisis. It was only my high in my ears with a lot of stitching, and now it's in my throat. So no, it's not related to the crisis we are here. It's really my August, September fever season of the beautiful pollen that go out crazy. Very sorry about that, but it's human. So, yeah, so your Scrum Master help the product owner answer that question pretty straightforward. What was the question is, how much should you plan for the sprint? How much? Not how many stories or tasks, not how many story point per task, how much the team have a capacity, and the 3 indicators. So did you get the 3 indicator? You still have time. When you plan a new sprint, capacity indicators that I'm still waiting for you in the comment to put me one of those 3 or the 3 of them if you know them, are displayed in the sprint panel. Yeah, if you really have, and you're working agreement again, and you create yourself a sprint panel of goods and bad and refinement task or everything. So it should be displayed on your sprint panel when you do the planning. And also with, of course, in the tunnel, you saw the buildings of London. It could be a t-shirt size, a pizza size. Sometimes in Quebec with the sugar sack, we have these buckets of maple syrup, different size, anything, any size, like from small to extra large. Okay, so Fibonacci again, that could be give you a number, and I'll come back to it later. But for me, sizing is size, right? So you don't need that relative estimation yet, depending to the level of your team and how much you want to put back science into teaching Scrum. But for now, let's stick with a capacity indicator that could be displayed into your sprint panel. Sprint panel is a component that some of my teams agreed and their working agreement here. And then, yes, the product owner knows the plan only necessary amount of work which can be completed comparing to the history of the team. Because on your sprint planning, you see which one failed because there was too much or the capacity was disrupted, this and that. All right, so it's always a comparison from the history of your team, learning to work together, refining the agreement they have, and seeing this capacity with the yet. The three key indicator of capacity, we call it YET, but it's spelled I-E-T. The number of items, that is, and the sprint backlog, not into the product backlog. These items, which are planned for the sprint, with a definition of done, clear, with acceptance criteria, clear. It's clear, it's operational. We could work, we could produce, we could create. It's something that everyone agreed. It's fully refined. Number of items which are planned for the sprint, so therefore they are into your sprint backlog. E is the effort that needs to be done to finish either a user story, either a specific technical task, okay, or either any other items that you define according to your context and your technology. But the bold one are user story or technical task. But yes, it could be a bug if you are into a more DevOps mode. It could be a services solution, sprint design item, anything, but it's clear enough that we should put it into our iteration called sprint and Scrum. And yes, you could, if you'd like, and this is where the effort should be sized according to the history of the team and its capacity. So that's why it's a key element. It's a key element that transcends with substantion again, interrelation of element and people. And then, so most of the team, the classical conventional agility, they will use a great deck. We still do this. We do some conventional type of scrumming, leaning things. So we have a beautiful deck card. So when you have a contract with us and we work in person, you could receive it for free. It will be part of your service agreement. So it's a beautiful poker game. And for those who, like me, worked in Las Vegas, or you've been visiting Las Vegas, you could probably recognize the size of these cards. Oh, I should have bring the other cards to show you, but these are real poker size card. Compared to my N, I really have a difficulty with my new camera. I'm sorry about this, about where she is. So you see, it's really a full, complete deck card. And what do you have in this card is to help the team. Yes, and the poker planning, they will vote. Okay, they will vote of a relative effort. It goes with those capacity indicator. Now it's more effort and time. Yes, I know a lot of you out there will say like, come coach, what the F? We've been told to use story point with a kind of a Fibonacci sequence, right? Not to implement time, because time will stuck us into a kind of a pressure. 13. But guys, this is an anti-pattern. Because why? Well, capacity indicator have everything to do with items we describe. The effort that you could size, you have to agree among you and your knowledge of what to be done and your experience. So guys, of course, the last three key indicator of the capacity indicators and the yet is the time, because the estimated time is necessary to finish such a task. The effort that you think the task we should put will be assigned into a planned sprint in hours. Yes. So the effort, it's in story point with the agreement and the vote of the team. So the effort is really need to be sized with whatever the scale you want to see, the small, medium, large, or extra large. It's part of the complexity factor as well. And then the time is, of course, in hours. We say in hours. Some use per diem in days. But I mean, like, keep it simple. Keep it according to your context once again. But it's a fake debate when you have a Scrum Master or a coach who want to be a kind of a by the book, saying like, oh, no, there's no hours. There's no hours. I'm sorry, but as a Scrum Master, I used to help a lot my product owner being able to do their report to the CFO, for instance, where they need to show how much an average sprint into that component-based team or feature-based team or creative teams or any development team or workers. So how much could it cost? Because, you know, if you really are applying the Agile principle and patterns, you will have a fixed budget and a fixed time for your release towards the acceptance criteria of a definition of done of an MVP, which stands again for the newbies, most valuable product. And then that's the meaning of Agile, to be flexible and to be the first to market with a maybe for you inside internally as an engineer or software developer or business owner, you will say, this is not, it's unfinished. MVP is unfinished. Yes, but you'll be the first to have an app doing that action. Like, for instance, the Airbnb guys use the Scrum way with an MVP to be the first to have an application with geolocalization to help people rent a space when they are arriving in a town. Was the first version out and launch a most valuable product? It was, according to the acceptance criteria. They all agreed, because this is not just for your development team. It should be agreed in the entire enterprise. Oh yes, a team working agreement should transcend this. That will include these estimation with the capacity indicator. So how many items do we have for the planned sprint that we could pull out? Not push, it's pulled from the sprint backlog. What will be the effort we estimate for each of those items? And then we estimate the times, because will we have in retrospective a kind of decision rights of, do we have enough time combined with all the people that contribute to that team? These are the kind of tips and coaching that we provide at the Agile Lounge for business agility. If you hire me or one of my other 5 coaches, I know I should have said, like, if you hire us, but could be me too. And if you like the style, go in the link in the description and take your discovery call with me. Yes. I'm really thankful that you follow us here on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. But I'm not doing it just for creating content. I'm also doing it to show you how much we love business agility and Scrum, and how much, with our experience and the field, we could help you also utilizing those pattern creations, such as a capacity indicator that display those 3 values of item, effort, and time that we call the yet. So this will be very important. So why there are 3 indicators? Because most of the teams estimate by time. And again, you could give me in the comment that you disagree. This is science, okay? If you said, if your team agreement agreed of a 2-week sprints, you have a time factor right away there. All right? So don't tell me otherwise. Don't tell me otherwise, I won't believe you. Okay? Don't tell me otherwise, because I won't believe you. So this is why the 3 indicators. So it's always teams estimate by time. Some prefer story point, while others just the number of cards they will take. Yes, that's another most of my team actually they kind of do this, and I really liked it, because when they do this, so because again the item, how many items could be planned, and they will know that especially if they know a small, medium, large, so they will take accordingly to their capacity. Of course, and the checklist of a sprint planning in Scrum, you always have confirmed the capacity of the team. Is there vacation? Is there training? Is there something that it's not the full capacity promise? So maybe we will take less cards. We'll take less items to go into the flow. Now I'm talking about strictly kind of a Scrum thing, right? And if you go with story time because you'd like to add this complexity and something that should be simple, be my guest. I don't mind, but you better, as a coach and as a product owner, work together on the psychology of estimation. Why will you attribute that a task size by story points will take you to a chunk of work of kind of a burn down chart? So now you're getting into what I call the waste and Scrum. And I remind my audience and everyone here that Scrum is not agile. Scrum is lean, and the lean philosophy tend to create patterns that unleash simplicity. So whether it's an advanced type of Scrum team or a newbie team, we always suggest to work with something concrete, pragmatic, such as time. If you advance enough and you have a scientific mind, and maybe your context is developing software for scientific, and then when the product owner address the user, they better get a picture of a kind of a project or a sprint panel with some kind of numbers and indicator that is more obvious with points, do it. In my case, I could help you and facilitate both ways. But there is no debate, or there's no good or wrong. Because let's say that you have a team of 8 people. They are all full-time and dedicated to your project, right? And the organization, the company, pay everybody 7.5 hours. But of course, as a great Scrum Master and product owner, the product owner usually have the budget. He will say, like, I've got 20 millions and about 1 year to produce that MVP and be on the market the first with our new product or new software or our new apps. So 20 millions, 1 year. We built the team agreed and everything. Now, of course, 1, 2, 3 sprint. Let's learn. Let's build this history. Let's refine the product backlog. Let's have our, not a sprint 0. That's bullshit. But let's have our release planning maybe. Let's have our agreement. So we got to spend maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10% of this 20 millions at the beginning to set up the team, to make sure the vision is clear, and to make sure that the MVP has a great definition of done for the launch with a fixed date, with a fixed budget. And then the Scrum Master should assist the product owner to see, like, okay, I've got 8 people at 7.5 hours a day, multiplied by 365 days. I just said totally wrong miscalculation in financing the product development project. Because we all know that the Scrum Master will actually validate the capacity of the team at least for a sprint length agreed of 2 weeks. So he will calculate how much a typical sprint will cost me. So we need time for that. Then after, if you'd like to dig deeper and to see by items how many times, now I agree that this is useless, because every item effort should be sized with small, medium, large, or if you really want to put science into it, you use the Fibonacci relative estimation, but you better have a Scrum Master and a coach and a product owner able to explain clearly and simply to the team member that are going to work the psychology of estimation. So, therefore, and coaching Scrum Master and apprentice coaches and group or solo and their back end of knowledge, this is it. We have to explain the psychology of estimation if you really want to use those famous dogmatic pattern of user stories. Because once again, guys, whether it's a slice of pizza, t-shirt size, or the Fibonacci sequence that will create those story points, you have to agree. And I don't know, for those of you out there who are using the point, you know, when we got an item with 21 points, and a lot of people would like to have a table, okay, 21 points, because that's the problem. A lot of people, they want pragmatic, right to the point thing. So if you have people in your audience that ask you, oh, 21 points, you mean what? Okay, you mean a large, you mean it's really complex, it's a lot of effort with a complexity diagram, but coach, it will take all my time. So the line is there. For me, the 1, the 3, the 5 are very easy and kind of small tasks that if you got 2 or 3 cards at this stage, at this user story points, well, you have enough on your own. You could be autonomous and work on it. When you got the 8 and the 13, it might occupy you and another buddy, an interaction with someone. You probably will have to ask help of someone else within the team or outside the team. Okay, so it's a medium to large complexity in terms of interaction to produce the goods. So the 8 and the 13, I often describe it like this. Yeah, but coach, the 21 usually for me, if you ask me, the ask 21, if the team agree that this task is 21 and they have a lot of questions, it should ring the coach bell and the Scrum Master bell to look and ask the product owner, well, this have to go back to your backlog and be refined and be clarified. Because refinement is not just the funk analysis or the feature understanding. It's also the clarity, the capacity of any team member to agree upon a definition of done of that such item, whether again it's a user story or a technical task. You with me on this? You got it? Okay. But more than often, I always have someone in the class that says, Coach, please. I don't know how to vote. Because for me, it's easy. I could say that will be totally a 1, and I could take 5 of them. That looks like this one for the next 2-week sprint. And the colleague next will say like, oh, well, yeah, but I'm going to help you with QA this task. And you know what? The QA for me, it's more like a 5. And I could only take 2 of them. And for those of you who would like to do Scrum Ban, you get the picture. Because if your flow is stuck into a kind of a flow process of design, development, testing, and then deployment. So if your QA people told you that, well, you said that this is a 1 on the psychology of estimation, sizing, that is easy and you could take 5 of them. Me, I'm telling you to test this with the acceptance criteria of the DoD we agreed. It will be, I'll size it 5, which is medium type of small medium. And I cannot take the 5 you said. I could take only one. Let's say it's relative, right? So if the developers and the designer could take 5-1, but if the QA and the tester people say like each of those 5-1 or 5, it's mean 20 points for them. So you see the dynamic. So this is the kind of conversation that you want to have, because the very same card will not be 20 points because the QA worker says so, and it will not be either 5 points because the developer says so. Will it be a 25 cumulative points? Maybe. Depend of your SDLC context. Depend of how you flow the work to be done. And this is why, which is I love in the Kanban flow system, is you are going to have a WIP, work in progress limit, a WIP limit. That's helpful but that goes also against the indicator values, the 3 values. So how many planned items, how many items that you could actually pull out into your system of production? What is the effort of each according to a team collaboration? And do we have enough time into that sprint to do this? And again, and for those who work with me, you know, especially the Scrum Master, I give you, and the product owner, I give you these kind of little Excel sheet that was made from my ex Scrum Master, because they wanted to have especially when they have 3 to 4 teams, and so they want to have a kind of a clear view. Again, Agile and especially Scrum, Lean will help you keep it simple and smart and efficient. So there's an Excel kind of sheet that's for you. You don't show it to the team. You could use it to discuss budget with your I should have pulled it out maybe next time. And so you're gonna put all the contributor of the team. Are they full-time or not? So you already calculate this capacity and the time manner, because how much time people could spend into the development of your product. So I'm sorry, guys, but if you just go with story points, well, and you're in a matrix mode, well, you will say, hey, how my sprint failed and Scrum failed. Fuck you. You're just not doing the right and proper way of implementing it. And again, if you have $20 million to spend in 1 year, and you hire people at, I don't know, so you're going to create an amount per hours. And so there's the paid amount and there's the effort amount according to complexity. And this is why these factors and the capacity indicators are very important. Because what's going to happen is, for instance, let's say you have a team of 5 and they're all full-time to your project. So we assume they'll be present 8 hours a day. You pay them 7.5. For some obscure reason, there's half an hour of break that you don't pay. I don't know. But we all know that you should have what we call a focus factor in Scrum. And when the team start and they don't know each other, always highly suggest that you put it at 0.6. 0.6 focus factor will be 16%. So 7.5 multiplied by 5 days, 37.5 hours a day, and there's our 8 people in the team. So you know that basically paid from your budget, because you're gonna give a salary or a compensation to those people, it's 300 hours per week. If the product owner challenged you as a Scrum Master, yeah, but how much can a sprint? Okay, so far we agreed that we're gonna do 2-week sprint, multiply it by 2, 600 hours. So you have your column in your Excel sheet of budget, compensation paid, 6 hour by, let's make a round number of $120 an hour average. And this, you should look at it with your CFO in your company. So we know that a sprint for this product development will cost, with those 8 people, that, by the way, when I say 8 people, it's including the Scrum Master and more than ever the product owner as well, when you try to make a budgetarization of it. So it's $72,000 rough of time, because of course the material, the product owner should know better, and you will add it him or herself into this. But as a Scrum Master, what you could facilitate is says like, I'm gonna have this dedicated team, and roughly it's cost $72,000 a sprint. But of course, I told you about the focus factor at 60%, because when you measure the capacity indicators to promise the sprint goal for the product goal, the psychology of estimation will tell you like, yeah, well, all of these guys are newbie into the field, or all that. So you better go with, because they will have to learn, remember the history of the team. So probably your first 2 to 4 sprint, you apply a 0.6 factor to the total team. Even if you have a Speedy Gonzalez and a Turtle, who cares? You do it for the team effort. So we said what? We said 600 hours a sprint for 8 people. You apply the 0.6, which is 60%. So it should give you a capacity and time of around 360 hours. So you know you're going to have those people concentrating their effort on the items for about 60% of their time, despite the fact that you're going to pay for 800. And again, the 600 hours include the Scrum Master, who usually and more often not producing anything from the sprint planning, the sprint backlog. Same with the product owner. They are here. The product owner is responsible for the product success, remember? And the Scrum Master is for the process success. So they are there, they are spending time, and literally they suck on that budget. But the real 360 out of the 800 hours, you should probably also remove in the equation the time. So this is, I'm giving you the holistic thing, because that could be very detailed according to your business context and how the CFO and the financial people attribute the budget. But this is a conversation that we have right now, that usually it's happening between the product owner and the Scrum Master, or the owner and the coach, as we call it here at the Agile Lounge for Business Agility with the Enterprise Key Simplify the Language. So the owner and the coach discuss that to establish a provision and a predictability. It's the facilitation of the coach and Scrum Master to the owner, for her or him to go out and says like, okay, we're gonna be on track with this MVP. So on that, as agile and tailored that I am, and to providing facilitation to my client desiring to adopt the agile values and principles to create patterns of a better productivity, always am at speaking their language. So again, if I'm going into an enterprise that I will hear user stories and story points at every phrase, well, I know that I will align my coaching and but depending on the struggling of the understanding of the team member as well as the product owner about all of these sparage, we might help them and facilitate the simplifying of the language, okay? Because there's no one size fits all, and don't expect it with us. So like speaking their language and being there for them, really for the customer. Like for instance, if I am in a more science-based organization with a team of engineers that seeks pragmatism and equation and statistics, well, I might bring the Fibonacci sequence to them because they will have a base to understand it quicker. As an introduction for the sizing and estimation workshop that we do, and to whether a release planning or a kickoff type of week. So briefly, as it will resonate with them more than the pizza size for the more creative team in the web development industry. So it's not the technique or the tool that's important here. It's you as the facilitator on how you will approach it. You gotta know your crowd and get out your comfy one-size-fits-all zone. Yes, motherfucker out there, your little recipe, what you've learned in your 3-day Scrum training that you still apply anywhere in any type of industry doesn't work. This is because of you guys that there's an inflation of fake certified coach because you don't pay attention. So pay the F attention to the detail that I just said there. How you will approach it as a great facilitator for your crowd to understand. You have to go out of your comfy zone, because when I see coach and consultant sticking into the same verbatim, the same way of doing things, whether they work for Steinberg or the space agency, I'm sorry guys, but you're doomed to fail, and you're doomed to have eyebrow from the team of engineers saying like, that woman or that man doesn't know what they're talking about. They are not a real Scrum Master. They are not a real Agile coach. So let's call Agile Lounge for Business Agility, and let's get a real who will dare to, yes, challenge us between story points and time capsule, but at least he will know how to listen to us, understand us, and speak our language until we are ready to adapt a new language. Maybe next week we're going to talk about what you should expect from a coach boldly. It's part of it. I name a couple of elements here. So you got to be ready for a heckler in the room, experience or not with Scrum, to challenge you and make that Fibonacci or that psychology of estimation completely useless. And I experienced it. I learned it the hard way. And this is why I'm providing you these tips, especially here for any Scrum coach and Agile coach. And again, it's a question of putting the interaction of individual over processes and tools. Remember? Tell me in the comment below if you remember. Tell me in the comment below if this makes sense to you. And if it's a value or a principle I just said. And having a functional product over a comprehensive documentation and training, especially if your audience is user effectiveness centric and focus on productivity and a type of continuous integration and continuous development flow. Don't waste your client time in a workshop explaining the Fibonacci sequence or any bullshit around the psychology of estimation into a deep level. Keep it for your facilitation with the owner and maybe the C-level suite.
That was easy.
And it is, because I experience it often with my client, and I know when to stop and when to defer it to a meaningful conversation and facilitation with the key stakeholders. So this is where, when you identify this and when you really listen, not just hearing, you listen, you understand, and then coach the business owner, coach the PMO, coach the leadership to work apart the budget over receiving estimation at each release, or worse, each sprint. Yeah, I've seen it. It's disgusting. It's anti-agile, it's anti-lean, and it's even, according to my accountant, anti-financial distribution of analysis. Any workplace, startup or not, aren't academic or seminar place when you go for a workshop to introduce people to Scrum. They are space for creativity and productivity. So my tips to any consultant out there, any other coaches, and especially the Scrum Master, because if you want to do Scrum for real, like Mike Beadle says, having a coach named a Scrum Master helps. Now I'm doing the politically correct thing of saying like coach, Scrum Master, coach. The Scrum Master is a fracking coach. Period. He's a coach of Scrum. He's mastering and she's mastering Scrum. Will facilitate Scrum. Tailoring the Scrum system into an appropriate framework into your SDLC context or your business context or your market and culture context. Duh! Stop this fucking fake, false debate on Medium and LinkedIn. Yes, I'm digressing, but my God, guys, when I'm waiting for a train or a plane and on my iPhone, I'm looking on those posts that keep coming back and coming back. There's no value into it. Just stick to the real McCoy. So coach the business owner, coach the product owner, coach the PMO people if you are in the kind of a hybrid organization. Coach the leadership too. Explain them. Have a great cafe with the CFO, the financial officer. Explain him or her. That estimation is worthless. Give me a fracking budget. Give your product owner a fracking budget. And at the end of the release, when it's out, when the MVP is done, you'll be able to re-estimate, because the estimation should come from those who want to give the money. So understand, like, prior to start producing the good, you should have a benchmarking, but that's another story. It's not about sizing and estimation, because sizing and estimation could be an aspect of a working agreement, to have an explicit agreement on how we are going to provide some information to help the owner track his budget. Yes. And to make sure the year after, when you develop this product, when you make it evolve, you will have a better view. So that's why we said from team sizing and estimation all the way up to budgetarization in the C-level suite. It's all about the experience we gather together and the way we work, and complex we transform into more agility. And you will also have to have in mind the bottom line. What is my return on investment? That's true too. I'm not discarding that. But when you're a consultant, this is my tips here. So the being real agile and real Scrum by keeping it simple and smart and tailored to the customer, your audience experience. So you gotta be pragmatic and empirical. Pragmatic. That's some kind of a voodoo Fibonacci ideas of complexity. They hire you, they hire me to beat their competition by being faster. But before achieving being faster, they have to be smarter. They have to have a clear vision. They have to have an explicit agreement. They have to have a definition of them. They have to know if the 20 million will be enough for that MVP. So you're there to help them, reassure them that yes, and to make sure that the fixed time of 1 year and the fixed budget of 20 million with those 8 people, they will uncover these better ways, these smarter ways to be faster and to be the first to market. And yes, I insist.
That was easy.
To say and also to do because I'm doing it. So don't disturb my team and I as we are achieving it. And we have a lot of success story about it. If you go into my LinkedIn page, my personal, my profile, Alexandre Frédéric, you're going to see 2-3 clients saying like, how much I help them cut the red tape. So, and empirical, yes, because the nature of Scrum with the sprint factor is to be empirical, to experiment your technique and your tools with your coachee and your trainee. Okay? And remember, the real key element, the real measure here is the capacity. How many players you have in your team, what is their skill set, experience, capability, let me say it again, capability, do they have the will, are they engaged? The capacity include all of the above. So learn by teaching and act upon what you try to have them embrace a better world of work, a smarter way to be and to produce a nice customer experience and a stakeholder experience as well. So I see about 10 people. I don't know where you are. You don't chat that much. So if you'd like, we could actually have a little Q&A for those 10 people across the board on Twitter. Now on LinkedIn, I made maybe a mistake because I don't know why my streamer app kind of forced me to my company page because I think LinkedIn changed something in the LinkedIn Live. So sorry about that. But yes, of course, the viewership is always better when I do it into my Alexandre Frédéric profile. So let's do a little tour here. So how many people are there? Sorry for the feedback. Okay. So, oh, is that right? The quality on Twitter is that low? So it's Friday. Let's have a coffee, right? And let's do, I will give the time for the 10 people to ask me some questions. So I would like to enjoy with you, because this is the Agile Lounge way of listening to the latest album of one of my favorite singer, Annie DiFranco, Revolutionary, on her latest album, Revolutionary Love. Let's hear it a little.
will tend my anger. I will tend my grief. I will achieve safety. I will find relief. I'll show myself mercy. Oh, myself mercy. Self-respect. Yes, I'll decide when I'm ready to forgive, but not forget. I will ask you, I'll ask questions.
Do you have any question, guys?
I will try to understand.
Yeah, do you have any question, guys?
Give me your story. I will hold it in my hands. Yeah, I will bring the love, the revolution every life. I will bring the love, the revolution every life. I will bring the love, the revolution every life. The revolution every life. If you hurt me, I will not shut down. No, you can't make me hate you and carry that hate around. Yeah, I will see no stranger on the parts of myself I don't yet know. Yes, I see right through evil, to a wound too scared to show. Yeah, I have the power to stay open. Oh, I have the power to be the one that I've been waiting for.
So if you have any question, guys, I'm here for you.
Yeah, I could bring the love, the revolutionary life. I could bring the love, the revolutionary life. I could bring the love, the revolutionary love, the revolutionary love.
All right, guys. So, guys, that was the 35th episode of Friday Live Agile. I love it. I love it. So 10 people you out there, like it. If you like this editorial but really meaningful tips, tell me in the comment below if it was meaningful to you. If not, tell me also. Share it to spark the mind of another coach, of another product owner to understand this psychology of estimation between the budgetarization they have to follow and everything. So we'll see you next Friday, the 24th, maybe with a special thing, because I might be into another studio. I might be into my musical DJ lover studio. Who knows? Maybe that's for next Friday. And again, I'm open to suggestion. If you want to, in the comment below also, tell me what type of tips and tricks you would like me to talk or who to invite into the mic of the Dare Real Agile podcast as well. So I thank you very much for your time, and I wish you a very amazing weekend. And I hope you learned something. And remember, you are beautiful, you are powerful, and you are free to the new world of work and togetherness. Cheers.